making Christmas decorations out of scrap wood to make your very own Winter Wonderland. Hello everyone, I'm Caroline, and today I'm going to be working with some scrap bits and pieces of wood that I found outdoors, around the house, in the garden. Right, no time for chatting, let's get on with crafting. This Christmas craft from scrap wood, I'm going to use this. It's actually the base of a seat, I think, for outdoor sitting, something like that. And I saw this and thought, I'm sure I can do something with it. Well, that was about 2 years ago, and I still haven't found anything to do with it. And then I looked at it and thought, right, let's do my old trick, turning it one way, turning it the other way, see what it reminds me of. And I thought I could make a lovely Christmas sledge decoration out of this. So it needs some cutting and chopping, and then I'm going to turn it into a Christmas sledge. So I'm going to disappear now, and I'm going to get my jigsaw out. I know, me and power tools. I could come back with lots of plasters, and I'm going to cut out just the 3 centre pieces of wood. There's a bit of a curve to it, so if I cut out the outer 3, it's going to be a bit slanty like that, whereas now it'll be, it's difficult to do on camera, it'll be like that. So I'm going to cut the 3 middle sections out. Right, let's go out in the garden where I can't make too much mess and do some sewing. So that was done with my jigsaw, and I would say just don't be frightened of power tools if they bother you. Try being brave. Start with something a little bit less savage than a saw and give it a try. You'll be pleasantly surprised. So this is what I'm left with, and you can see it's very messy on the ends. So now I'm going to attack it with another power tool. I've got this sander, so I'm going to sand all the edges, and then I'll be back again. One thing I will say, when you're going to use power tools, use as much safety clothing as you can get your hands on. I never feel quite safe unless I've got at least a mask on, because the dust getting in your lungs really isn't a good thing. So it's now sanded off. I may need to do a little bit on that edge. It's looking a bit tatty. I don't know yet. But I've been thinking that maybe I need a footboard, because how on earth do you put your feet up on this? You usually have a footboard down there. So I've got this little bit left, and I'm going to take that piece of wood off. It will be the perfect colour to go with the other bits of wood. So now I want to decide how wide I need the footboard, and then I'm off out to do some more sewing. So I'm going to put the footboard down. I think I'd like it sticking out a little bit either side. So, with me and my Caroline Johnson method of measuring, I'm going for about there. And let's give that a chop. Now the pieces are easier to handle. Give them a rub over. 1, to take the dust off, and 2, to make sure they are clean. As you can see here, the wood is split, so I'm going to fix that by putting a little bit of wood glue in. I've got Gorilla wood glue. Clean off all the wood glue on the outside, and then clamp it together with one of these snazzy clamps. While that's drying, I got 2 walking sticks, and I gave them a coat last night with some chalk paint. It's like a pinky colour, so it's not suitable. I wanted red, but I used it as an undercoat. I painted the bottom half red because I couldn't paint the whole thing. I need to hold one end or the other. And now I'm going to paint the other end, and I will have done 2 of these. And then by the time this paint has dried and the wood glue is dried, in theory, you know what I'm like. I'm terrible for rushing things and getting paint all over my hands. And then we'll be able to carry on with the assembly. And this Christmas craft from scrap wood, I think, is going to turn out absolutely fabulous. I can see it in my mind. Saying that, you never quite know what it's going to be like, because we crafters do tend to change our minds, and it doesn't matter. That's all part of the fun. So don't go away. I'll be back when all this is dry. Right, I'm back. Let's see if this worked. Clamp off. Yep, that's done a pretty good job of fixing it there. So now I've got a few little jobs to do before I take this over to my bigger table to work on. I'm going to cover the ends of the wood where they've been cut with some Rust-Oleum finishing wax in dark. It just makes the edges look a little bit more blended in. And then I'm going to take some more wax and very, very lightly put it on the planks. And then although the edges are a bit darker than the wood, it doesn't matter because you've darkened this a bit. You can put loads on and really make this dark and rich, but I like it looking a bit faded, like it's being well loved. And don't forget to do your footboard too. Next thing we need to do is to put some rope on this. Now, this would have been used for holding on to and for steering the sledge if you had a Porch one with a bit of a tilt on. This is going to be for a hanger really, but I'm going to make it look like the rope that came off the sledge. Out with my essential piece of wood. Now this wood is 6 3/4 centimetres. A very awkward number to divide in half. About there-ish. And the same on the other side. Out with the drill and drill a hole. Give it a sand down to smooth the edges. Don't be over vigorous, otherwise you'll take all the colouring back off. But if you do, don't worry. Out with your little rag and just give it a bit of a wipe over. Alright, I've just spotted another problem. I've got my rope and I can't fit it through, and that is the biggest drill I've got. So I can't make the hole any bigger. Never fear, I've got a plan. It's a good excuse to use more power tools. Tie a knot in a piece of rope and cut it off. Tie another knot and cut that off. And now I've turned my glue gun on, and while it's hotting up, I'm going to work out how much rope I want as a hanger. Now you can do this any length you want to, but take into consideration how far your hanger is from the floor, because otherwise it'll end up dragging on the floor. I think I'll go there. No, a bit shorter. I think I'll do about there. Let's cut that off. Turn this over. And then where the holes are, out with my staple gun and staple it into position. Now turn it over, get my knots, and I'm going to glue the knots in place. I'm going to pop some hot glue on the knot to stop that unravelling. And then pop it into place over the hole that I needn't have drilled. But if you've got a big enough drill, then you can drill the hole the right size. Hot glue, more hot glue, and glue it into place. I think that's done quite an impressive faux rope through hole. Is there such a thing? There is now, a faux rope through hole. So let's deal with a wreath. And I've got this wreath. It's just a bit lackluster, isn't it? And all the bows are squashed. So we need to do something with this. First thing to do, whenever you get a wreath like this, or if you get yourself a garland, something like that, make sure you floof it up. These things look so much better when you floof up every single branch. Don't leave one flat, because there you're leaving money on the table in that you've got all this real estate of fluffiness. So you want every little bit of it for the money you paid for your wreath. That's looking a bit better already. It's a bit baldy at the top, but that doesn't matter because I'm putting a floral arrangement there. Now, your wreath may look lovely at this point. I still think this needs some sorting out. So I'm going to take all the decorations off it. And now I can give it a decent floofing because I can see where every branch is. And sometimes you'll find one like this one that's round the back and it shouldn't be. You may need to bring it right the way around, and then you can get the full advantage of it. Otherwise it'll be a bit short if it's gone all the way around the back of the wreath when it shouldn't have. See, there's another one, just a little bit short. It's because he's the wrong side. Bring him around and he's in a better position and the right length. And I am so much happier with that. And now we need to decorate this wreath. Now these are too long for what I'm going to do, so I'm going to take those off. But whatever you do, don't throw the rest of your pick away, because this is going to be perfect for using on other projects. But I think that's about as long as I need these to be. I don't want them too long and completely domineering the display. I'm going to join these two together. Now, you can see when you join those, there's an awful lot at the bottom that's overlapping. So just snip a couple of those ends off. Be careful, if they got wire in them, you need to use a wire cutter. If they're just plastic, you can use a scissors. This is a good scissors, but I still wouldn't use it to cut florist wires. And then I'm going to cut these down to size, well, some of them. So I'm going to use 3 of those. This one's going to have to be bent a little bit at the bottom so that I can wire it in place. And then I'm going to put these coming up. Like that. Oh yes, I like that. On with some florist wire. Nice and tight. Make sure every piece is underneath some florist wire and tied on nice and tightly. Give it a twist. Even if you don't have problems with your hands, florist wire can be a little bit of a monster. So I recommend you use a pliers for this bit. A lot less painful. And that way you can get a really, really tight tie on it. And then rearrange your bits until you're happy with them. Now I take another piece of floral wire and I'm going to attach it to the wreath. So find your ugliest or your thinnest bit. For me, it's the top there. And I'm going to wire it in. Just wrap it round. Then I go around once the one side of the tall one and then once the other side, just to give it a bit more grip. Turn it over. Sorry if I'm clattering a bit. And then do the old twist thing again. I cut 2 lengths of ribbon, how long I want them to be as tails. And then I'm going to dovetail them. So fold in half and cut up to the centre for perfect dovetails. Put a blob of hot glue on and put one there and one at an angle a little bit the other way. And on with the finger protector and give it a good push. Now out with these poinsettias. If I put them on like that, they're just huge and they completely dominate the wreath. I think they need to be a little bit more squashed and I think they look a little bit more natural too. That's my theory. Let's see if it works. And the plan is to put the bow on afterwards. Whether it'll work, I don't know. I'm just thinking this may be a better way of doing it. If not, we'll have to fix it. Now lift those petals up, squash that one in there, and then lift that one up, and squash that one in there. Oh yes, I like that. Again, personal taste, you do as you fancy, but that's the way I like it done. Fold your ribbon over on itself the same amount of times as you want bow loops. I want 4 loops, so I've cut myself 4. Squeeze the middle. And now I'm going to pop a pipe cleaner on. I just find it much gentler on the fingers. So when I can, I do. In behind this flower with some hot glue. Then lift up the petals. Make sure you've got them all. Squash that into place right behind the flower. And then you won't see the pipe cleaner. Like that. And then I am going to dovetail the ends of these. Up to the middle. And it is very easy to make this mistake of going the other way. I've done it several times. And there we got a lovely little wreath. Now it depends how simple you want this to be, but this isn't the main decoration. If I was just making a wreath, I'd add more. But this now is going to be fixed onto our project. Right, back over to the other table. Woo, I'll be worn out at the end of this. My component parts for the sleigh are made. We've got our little seat bit, we've got our foot plate, and I've got these 2 walking sticks. Now you can see them much better now. They were odd lengths, so I decided I would go with the length of the shorter one, measure them up to get them the right length, paint them red, and now 2 cronky old walking sticks look quite good, and they're not a perfect match, but I don't think you'll notice that. It'll be part of the charm anyway. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Right, so let's get on with some gluing. But I'm going to glue them in place there and there. I am going to angle the front of these in like that and make them look more sledge-like. So that's going to be a challenge. Make sure I've got the angle I want at the top, and then down here I need to come along with the wood glue. Not all the way down, because in between I'm going to put some hot glue, and that way then I don't have to clamp it. In between, add some hot glue and hold it steady just long enough for the hot glue to cool down. I'm going to use this to line it up and then angle that in at roughly the same angle. The same thing again, wood glue and then hot glue. This one is very difficult to keep in place, so I'm giving him some extra hot glue. Now the hot glue's set, I can turn it over and I can see then if I need to clean up any wood glue on the top half. So I'm going to put this hanger with the rope hanging at the top end, because this is the way up I'm going to hang it. And just to the inside of the knots, I think is the best place to apply the glue. Or you can see I put an extra row of staples there too, because it just helped the rope to lie flatter. Hot glue, top and bottom. What am I doing over there? Wrong place. In the ideal world, I would have let this dry much more before I worked on it, but I want to get it done on the video in less time than normal. So I've added a bead of hot glue down each side now, just for extra security, and clamped this into place while it's drying, and then I can carry on working on it. While I'm gluing this piece of rope in place, let me know if you could have any item for your crafting, what would you choose Santa to bring you? Would it be something like a cricket or cricket? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. Would you like a massive selection of coloured paints? Would you like lots of wood? Would you like some power tools? I'm not sure what I would ask for if I had to narrow it down to one thing. If you've got very straight walking sticks, or if you're using something like a plank of wood, you probably won't need to add this bead in, but I do think it gives it a nice finish anyway. Gives it more of a country look. This is quite a country Christmas craft. I think if I could have absolutely anything, that I'd ask for an invention rather than an item. I'd ask for somebody to invent hot glue that truly does go completely invisible when it cools down, because I use transparent glue sticks, but there's always glue showing on my projects, so that would be a real treat. I wouldn't have to worry, because I'm forever picking bits of hot glue off things. And because I'm really rushing this, I've moved the clamp down a bit, and I'm leaving that down that end while I carry on up here. So I'm going to cut a piece of ribbon a bit longer than the sledge, and midway on this plank I'm going to attach a piece there, right down to the bottom, snip it off so I've got enough to go around the back but not too much. You don't want it dangling, can't be doing the dangly bits on this, and then fix it in place. Now take your wreath and you can decide where you want it to be. You can put it near the top, you can put it in the middle, you can put it in the bottom. I think it'll look a bit odd. I'm torn between the top and the middle. What would you do? I like it in the middle because I like this, almost makes it look like it's being gift wrapped. But I also like it at the top too. I'm going to put it there, I think. Not at the top and not at the middle, sort of there. It's the best way to describe it. I'm putting it there. I'm going to use this extra bit of ribbon and glue that to the back of my wreath. And the only reason I'm doing that is to give it a bit more stickability. Just stick it to the back. I'm going to put a little bit down here too. And now I can put some hot glue over those bits. Plenty of it. And then hopefully we can hit it first time where it should be. What if I put it there? About there. Now I've still got a clamp on this. I've still got a mess everywhere where I'm working on it, but already I just love this. I just think it's so much Christmas. It's so country. So country Christmas this is perfect for. It's also perfect for a wooden Christmas if you're going to do something like a Scandinavian Christmas. Wooden Christmas wasn't really the word, was it? Wooden Christmas. So you could use it for a Scandinavian Christmas. You could use it for country Christmas. I think this would fit in with most decor. Probably not glam. I don't think it's a glam decor, is it? Victorian Christmas decoration, definitely. And now we're pretty much stuck into place. I'm going to add some extra glue just to give it a bit more oomph. I do like a bit more oomph when it comes to glue. Now I'm going to leave this for a little bit longer because I want to be sure that glue, the wood glue, is really starting to set. 2 hours it says. I love it. If you're enjoying this video so far, then why not subscribe? I do have lots more videos coming up and I think you're going to enjoy them. We're going to have such a lot of fun as Christmas gets closer. Right, back to crafting. For this scrap wood Christmas craft, I've been using some wood I found down our garden because we've been having some renovations done and I've got a pile of bits and pieces of really grotty wood. You may be thinking, what on earth is she going to do with this? Well, I'm not going to do anything with it because these came off much longer planks. So I chopped them off to the length I wanted them to be for a set of skis. So these are the offcuts from 2 pieces of wood and you can see there were bits of paint, there were nails in them. They didn't look very good at all. So I cut them to length and sanded them. Now look at the difference it makes. That one is the sanded one. This is what it looked like when it had been cut off. And then you give it a sand over, sand the edges as well and smooth it. And it really does look like a beautiful piece of wood now. But I wanted this to look like a ski. And so I got myself, well, apologies for all the black paint under my nails. I got myself a template, but I just made it because I want both skis looking exactly the same. And then I put it on the piece of wood and drew around it. Then I got my jigsaw and I did that on the end. It looks a bit like a picket fence, doesn't it? And I rounded it off again with the sander. So it's nice and smooth. You're not going to hurt yourself on it. And it looks better. I think it looks more like a real ski. And I did that to both of them. So I've got my pair of skis. But what do you need if you go skiing? You need some ski sticks. Is that what you call them? Ski sticks? We'll call them ski sticks. It's probably a proper name. If it is, let me know what it is. Now, if I wasn't such a slapdash grafter, I'd fill this in with some wood glue and sand it off. But I don't mind it like this. I like it. It's just me. I like rustic. I went down the garden. I found these. Now, they're not exactly the same width, and this one's a little bit wonky. But again, I like the rustic look of that. This is really going to look like a country Christmas decoration. But they've also got, okay, another time, I don't know the technical term, those little round bits on the end. Not sure what they're called either. We'll call them the little round bits. So for the little round bits, I got a wood round. So I drew a template, drew around this, made a template, folded it into 4, and then that gave me the central point. I drilled it with rather a large drill, but don't worry about that. That's going to disappear. And out with one of these, I think they call it a gouger, do they? Something like that. And I'm going to make the hole bigger. So here we go. It's going to make a mess. Always best to fit your battery on properly before you start. So now the holes are drilled, I am going to try being very conscientious and filling this in. Now I can't find my wood filler anyway. So I'm going to use a little bit of this. It is actually fix and grout for tiles. And it's gone really hard. I've managed to dig a bit of it out. We'll see if that works. Yes, that looks good enough. I'll give it a sand down now and a little bit of a colour on the end. I think we should be fine. So I'll do it to both of them and then we let that dry. So now I want to fit my little wooden bits onto my ski sticks. I think about 2 inches from the bottom will be good. Run of hot glue. Pop it on. I'm going to push it to the one side so that I get a good grip on it, and then I can add some more hot glue around it later. You can got bits of tinsel in it. And then stick the other one on. Now I've only got one size of that big hole making drill, so I've used the same size for both pieces, even though this stick is substantially thinner than the other one. But I'll cover that with hot glue and then probably put a little bit of a decoration on it anyway. So a little bit of hot glue around the edge just to make sure it's stuck all the way around. Not that anybody's going to swing on it, unless you've got very peculiar friends. Now you won't be able to see everything, but you'll get the idea. I'm going to measure the width of my piece of wood. It's 5 centimetres wide, so I'm going to mark it at 2.5 centimetres on the top and at the bottom, near enough. And then I mark this from top to bottom about 1 millimetre, 2 millimetres in from the centre mark. Put some masking tape on either side. And then at the top, I'm going to come around from the same level on both. It's a very unfortunate place for that hole to be, but never mind. Then paint in this little shape you painted at the top. This is quite a nice design. I like this one. I've been looking at various old skis to see which design I like best, and I think I like this one. And then paint all the way down the line. This is nice and easy. Look at that. You can make as much mess as you like and then take your masking tape off. And then peel off your masking tape. And that's your first ski. You can put a little bit of black on the outside if you want to. I've already put a bit with my finger, so I think I will put a lot of black on the outside. Right the way around the edge with black. So while the paint is drying, I've got out my ski sticks again. And I've got another bit of my old boot. I keep using this for bits and pieces. It's amazing how long it lasts. So I want to put some little handles on these. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the zip right off. I don't want to make them too big, but I want to keep them proportional. 2.5 inches, I think. So I'm going to cut straight across there. And then measure down 2.5 inches. Which is about there. It's only going to be rough. I've got 2 sticks, so I need 2 bits. Now I need some loops. I'm hoping I've got enough here to make loops. I think I have. I just want these to be thin. Cut 2 of those. Form a loop with a little bit of hot glue on both pieces. And then hot glue them onto the top of the skis. Glue the one edge into place, and then when it's nice and cool, so you can pull just a little bit. If you want to, you can actually butt these ends together, but I really don't think I'm going to manage that. Oh, it's really stiff and awkward now to make it go exactly where I want it to go. And I've made a bit of a pig's ear out of that, but we'll be okay. Although this looks lovely with the leather, I would recommend you use something like sheet foam, because this leather does not want to bend this tightly and stay in place. So there we've got the handles on our ski sticks. While that's completely dry, and I'm going to give just a little bit of a rub down on the edge, make it look a bit more worn. So here are my finished skis. So now I want to cross these skis at a pleasant angle. I don't want them too sprawling. If they were going to go on the wall, I can't really show you, but I could do a full X like this, but I'm going to do them like this, like as if they've just been casually stacked. They say put your best foot forward. I'm putting my best ski forward. Nice blob of wood glue, and I'm going to surround it with some hot glue and glue them together. I should have done this on my big table, shouldn't I? Next, drill a hole through both sticks where they're going to cross, and the reason you need to drill them is because if you just put a screw in, it will probably split the wood. Make a start joining your sticks together, and then put them where you want them to be. I think about there will be nice. Mark your wood, and then we're going to drill a hole there, what they call a pilot hole, to get the screw started into the skis too. It just makes life a lot easier. Don't put your pilot hole too long or too wide, otherwise your screw will just spin round and round and won't actually attach anything. And before you do the final tightening of the screw, make sure you're happy with the positioning of your ski sticks. Now get yourself a bunch of florals and foliage and check out what it is you fancy putting on. You never know until you make a start. You may think, oh, I'm going to go with red or something, or this particular style, and then find out you don't really like it. So I'm going to see what it would look like if I go for whites, pale colours. I could even put in some flyaways, couldn't I? I'll think about that. I learned something the other day. Apparently what I'm making are called porch leaners, that you lean them against your porch. And I'd never heard of that term before, so now I know. And we're done. I absolutely love this. And don't forget, as you can see, I'm making lots of mistakes as I go along, but I don't mind, because the most important thing with crafting is to enjoy it. So let's see what this looks like up on my display. I'm going to take a little break here to say a huge thank you to every one of my subscribers, every one of my viewers, everyone who leaves a comment. I really do appreciate you. Thank you ever so much. It really makes what I do so worthwhile to know that you're all coming along with me on my craft journey and seeing what I make. Right, back to crafting. For this scrapwood Christmas decoration project, I'm going to introduce you to my friend, Mr. Plank, and his brother, Plank 2, and his sister, Plank 3. You can see they're all slightly different. I wanted them to be a little bit more natural looking than everything being uniform. They're a little bit grubby, but that doesn't matter. It's because they've been in the garden. And I'm going to draw some Christmas trees on these and then cut them out with my jigsaw. Now, I'd like to cut a wavy line, but I think I would need a bandsaw for that. So I'm going to have to do something a little bit more simple. So I'm just going to do triangle trees. This is 6-inch wood, so I'm going to mark it at the 3-inch spot at the top on all 3 pieces. Get a straight edge, which is just what it says. The secret's in the name, it's a straight edge, and then go from where the 3-inch mark is down to, I can't show you, right to the corner of the wood, and draw a line. And then come from the same spot at the top down to the bottom corner and draw another line. If I show you, there's where the bottom ends on both pieces, and there's where the top joins at the top, and do that on all 3 planks. I'm going to disappear for a few minutes as I go cutting these. Then I'm going to sand them, smooth the edges too, and then we'll do something to them to make them look more than just planks of wood. Whew, I'm back. That was a lot of work, but I've now got myself 3 trees. Now you can cut these by hand, you can sand them by hand, but it will take a lot longer. I've done these with the sander and I'm absolutely loving this effect. I've just lightly sanded this area so it was nice and smooth, and I've rounded the outsides, and look at the contrast. I think they look gorgeous all on their own. Look, I've got the shakes I've been sanding for so long. So you've got some options now. You can leave these as they are. They make a perfectly adequate porch leaner or decoration. You can put them on a little piece of wood and stand them up as if they're on a trunk. You can join them together with the tallest one at the front, or whatever you fancy. Although I love them like this, I think I'm going to put some decoration on them using some white acrylic paint and my little acrylic stick that I use for dot painting, mandala making, that sort of thing. Out with my palette that I previously used for red, put a blob of white on, and then I'm going to do these big blobs on the biggest tree, I think. when you're using these, make sure you've got a nice blob of paint, and you can always test it to make sure you're happy with the finish. I'd rather use this now because there was a bit too much paint on that. Be warned, you will be very trembly if you spend a lot of time sanding. So don't do any delicate painting at this point or you will make a mess. And then as random as you can manage. I really struggle with random, as many of you know. I'm always saying I don't like random, I can't do it. Just cover your tree in random spots. And I think that is plenty of dots. And the next one is going to get some stripe. Add 3 layers of washi tape to the bottom of your tree. Take the middle piece off. Move it up. Put it next. Take another piece of washi tape and put it above that one. Take the middle piece off. And as you can see, you'll get nice even stripes. Do this right the way up the Christmas tree. I'm going to clean off my palette into this little bit of water because I want more of a wash rather than a solid acrylic. Give it a good mix about. And then on with some of this whitewash. You don't need to come right to the ends where it's already faded a little bit. That's part of the charm. Just come near it as you can. And then work your way right the way down the tree. I love coming up with descriptions for what I'm making, and it's very rarely there's something that fits only into one category. Like with this now, what could it be? It could be country, it could be woodcraft, it could be cottagecore, Victorian, Scandinavian. There is a Scandi something that's actually the name of a design, but I can't remember what it is. I know a style of decorating. Do you know what it is? Scandi something. Now this won't take very long to dry at all. So straight away I can start taking the washi tape off. And it has run a little bit. If you want a crisp edge, then you've really got to be using masking tape, and because this is unsealed wood, you would need to be using an undiluted acrylic. Perfect. Well, perfectly imperfect. Oh, I really love that. But we've got one more tree to decorate. I've got a Scandinavian snowflake type stamp. I stuck these on my ink pads to use because I don't have enough acrylic blocks, and they work perfectly fine. So pop some white ink on. Oh, just to let you know, this is premium pigment ink, non-toxic, acid-free, crystal white from Dovecraft. Start down the bottom. I'm not putting too much ink because I want a bit of a faded, worn look on these too. Maybe not that faded. So I can improve now on the way up. Whereas if I'd done the first one right at the top, then it may have really worked out bad and it would be the most obvious Christmas snowflake. Now any I don't like the look of, I'm rubbing out with a wet wipe and coming back over them so I'm happy with all my snowflakes. Now we need to join the trees together, so I'm going to use this straight edge of a piece of wood like that, and these are pieces of wood that I actually cut these from, and I'm going to use those to support the other trees when I glue them into place. So this one is going to be going here. I'm going to add some wood glue and some hot glue. Make sure it's supported on that piece of wood, and then I think I can put a little bit more hot glue up there and pop it into place, making sure that it is in line with this bottom plank too, like that. Then get my third tree, decide where that's going. So a nice lot of wood glue, a run of hot glue, and glue that into position there, making sure again before the hot glue dries that it's perfectly flat and level on the bottom. So now all I have to do is let these dry, and then we can see what these look like on my display. I've thoroughly enjoyed this craft, and you can do any design you want, any colour you want. You can even wiggle the shapes of the trees if you've got something like a bandsaw. Right, let's see what this looks like up on my display. Well, I enjoyed that. It definitely was my favourite video ever so far. Oh, there's more coming, so that could change. But I loved it, and I love the big items, the porch leaners, and you can use them all together as I have in the display, or you can use them separately. They're ideal if you want to be selling things at craft fairs or on Etsy or whatever. They are bigger than usual. You'll need a little more space than usual, but they are simple. They're not fast, but they're simple to make. If you've enjoyed the video, then why not subscribe, and that way you get to see all the videos. I can't wait to show you the other Christmas projects I've got coming up. And not only that, next year I've got some really interesting things coming. Oh, I can't wait. Well, I'll see you all next time. But until then, don't forget, happy crafting and have fun. Bye.